Mike Myler. Hi, everybody.
I'm Savannah Broadway.
Hi, to all the folks watching, both now and present, my name is Sonia. I am the owner of Stormity Studios, and I am a Pathfinder and learning to be a 5e developer and designer. And I'm just filled with awesome most of the time, 90% of the time. It works all the time. Sure. It's super, yeah.
Oh, we did not get any review product. Although,
oh man, I have my mustache primed and everything,
send
guys.
us something small after the show, and we will review it at the beginning of the next episode. Preferably not something that I have written. The coveted shuriken. Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, I'm playing my current character. I'm actually playing 5e right now with the guys over at Total Party Kill Games, and I'm playing in Brian Berg's private campaign setting. So I am playing their cleric, Asheram, for his campaign setting that he's developing that will be out. I don't want to say when because it's not really. I don't think he's made the public announcement, but we've been doing a lot of play testing, and I've been playing this very, very dumb but very inspired half-orc cleric of Nerghal, who is all about the death and the priest kings and killing chickens. So doesn't realize they're cockatrices, but he'll kill a chicken.
And you like roll around in like a Colonel Sanders outfit, or?
No, we were playing in a session. We were playing a session a couple of weeks ago, and we were tearing down this rival temple, and one of the temple guardians was a cockatrice, and of course I knew exactly what it was, and the rest of the players did, but I failed all of my checks. So I charged in like, oh, I'm not scared of a chicken. I'll kill this chicken. And it was, and I tried to do the whole KFC thing, and they're just like, no, it'll turn you to stone. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be scared of a chicken. And it was fun.
Good.
I'm a big role-playing nerd. It works.
Fringe. She loved her chickens though, and specifically, well,
Baba Yaga's coming for her. I don't want to hear
Baba Yaga's hut character. Yes.
Baba Yaga's coming for you, man. You can't be doing that.
Fringe is not afraid of her. She's like the head of a space pirate witch organization now.
Baba Yaga's. She'll eat her. I'm telling you.
Maybe she secretly works for Baba Yaga.
Oh, maybe.
Interesting.
Did I talk about Rankir and his being annihilated forever? I feel like I might have mentioned
not
it.
Come to mind.
Well, Savannah doesn't know it. Savannah, do you want to hear about Rankir?
Sure.
All right. So this is the first proper D&D campaign I was ever in. We convinced his older brother to run it for us, and he'd been playing D&D forever. And then it became like bigger and bigger until we had like 8 or 10 people at one point. But after a long time, I think after a year, we're like 7th level. I was 9th level because Rankir had been very ballsy and worked his way up to 9th. I don't want to get into specifics of it. So he was really powerful. And we're like going north into Disputed Kingdom, and we're trying to stop this war, and we get spotted by these mercenaries. So we subdue him. And then his brother, Elaith, my best friend in real life, Steve, was this crazy bloodthirsty like fighter elf, like insanely bloodthirsty. He was such a power gamer. It was crazy. And he really did not want to kill these mercenaries, and I couldn't understand why. So we argued about it for, no joke, 4 hours of out of game time in character. We argued over the merits or failures of killing these mercenaries. So eventually I just got like tired with him. I was like, you're being insensible. Fuck it. I fly up and I fireball. And we roll initiative, so of course he wins the initiative, and then he rolls up and hits me, but he doesn't just use his sword; he uses the God's Bane. The God's Bane is from Forgotten Realms, and it can kill and wound gods. And he doesn't just like hit; he critically hits. So Rankir doesn't just get like destroyed; he gets annihilated from existence. So like no wishes, no raised dead, nothing. Like he's just gone forever. And then Elaith lands. And he looks around at everybody, and he like looks at me, and then he gets this like sheepish, not looking at anybody. He's like, I think we're gonna have to kill all these mercenaries. And I was just like, oh my fucking god, Steve! And just goes to show you that sometimes people will bring things into the game that have nothing to do with the game. I don't even know what he was mad about. I don't think I ever found out because I lost my mind after that point. But yeah, that was Rankir.
I like it.
Reclaims.
Boxers?
Ugh.
Was he like full plate in boxers or something?
He was going maximum. I'm wearing a parka.
Oh.
It's not clams.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. First thing I do is I buy the wolf pelt factory, and then I set the
Meanwhile,
prices.
wolves are like, God damn it.
That is completely reasonable.
Next.
So I'm thinking, speaking of like cold weather not being appropriately attired, I enjoy characters who kind of are formed through the roles that you make. Like I played a human sorcerer of the Destined Bloodline, and his name was Gaius Titus Felix, last of the Red Hot Shwamis, descendant of emperors, and the chosen one.
You say last
Like
of
that's
the
how he
Red
would
Hot
introduce
Swami?
himself.
Last
Everyone
of the
called him
Shwamis.
Felix, though. On a good day. They
What?
called him Felix.
What? Can I ask what differentiates a red hot Shwami from a regular Shwami?
Clearly their level of heat retention, I feel like that's fairly
See,
intuitive.
now I imagine like this. You remember the red hots though that people used to get? You know, they'd eat
Yeah.
this like, red hot
That's
cake
what I was thinking. I think they have like a candy coating or some shit.
with little legs and like
Yes,
like,
yes,
proper
yes, oh my
Swami
God.
headgear.
So apparently,
Well,
guys,
he was originally supposed to. What's that?
apparently you guys couldn't hear me for a bit. Hi, I'm Scott. Wow, that was weird. It was showing me detecting.
All right. Well, they'll let us know if that's any better. I'm
Okay,
sure.
I think. Yeah. I will retell my story after Savannah. Sorry, go ahead, Savannah.
So what ended up happening is that he was actually supposed to be a convoluted reference to Schmedrick the Magician from The Last Unicorn, because he says at some point that he's the last of the Red Hot Swamis. And so he's supposed to be this like useless sad sack sorcerer. He had like a 13 charisma. And that was on purpose. Like he had a 14 intelligence and a 16 dex, but a 13 charisma.
It sounds like along the ranger who ranges.
He was interesting, but part of like he had terrible luck like all the time. Like Felix means lucky, and he was lucky, just not consistently one kind of luck. Like one time everybody caught the bubonic plague, and he rolled a nat 20 on his fort. Yeah, he rolled a nat 20 on his fort save, and it's like, no, I'm fine, and everyone else is doing really poorly, and so he just kind of like puts his little luck buff on them and goes off to go shopping with the party funds. Like he was an asshole. But our cold weather thing was we went through this mysterious portal and we were utterly unprepared, and we ended up walking through a blizzard, trying to get to a town, and had to make fort saves, and Felix gets a natural 20, which made no sense because he was just wearing like really hokey wizard robes that he'd bought. And so we decided that he was just so angry and bitter that it just kept him warm at night.
I love it.
That's how he was red hot. Okay.
So just real quick,
Nice.
guys.
There we go.
Because apparently my audio might have cut out. The real quick summary of the story that I just told was I had a friend, Abdel, playing in an old homebrew system I ran, who went to the frozen north and decided that he was not wearing anything when I asked him underneath his armor, which is frigid and against his body. It was freezing him. Oh my God, he almost died. He could have just chosen to say he had something under it. Yes, he was in his boxers. It was wonderful. We went there, and it was about 3 a.m., so when I said he needed to get 100 shiny rocks, or 10 shiny rocks for the game, for his cold weather gear, he heard 100, and the town was not accepting of money because it was like, they didn't want to convert the currency. So we had to work in the mine for like months, like a month to get like shiny rocks to get his armor. And so at the end he was like, what the hell are you, what do you mean 100? It was only 10. But anyway, yeah, sorry guys if my audio cut out. I
really wanted that to become a like intrusive gentrification Rockefeller type situation.
Hey, Rockefeller.
When you're like, he's got like 1,000 stones, I was like, sweet, he's gonna buy the fucking town. Yeah.
Well, Abdel was really chill about it. Like, he didn't want to, like, he was, like, a really, even though they're really subdued players who just kind of, like, plays in the background a lot and likes to support the party, you know?
Buying a whole town would definitely support
Yeah,
the party.
definitely. Especially because...
See, meanwhile, I'm thinking I'm thinking, who owns this mine, and why are they just letting random people wander up and mine things?
Well, actually,
Like-
it was owned by the northern one of the northern barbarian clans, which one of the other players was from, and it was owned by the town, and he was employed to work there. For the period, there was like, hey, can you go work it? Sure, why not? And it wasn't like a big mine; it was a small one. It was just like the local economy was partially built on it. Like they were mostly a hunter-gatherer tribe, but they settled around the mine because they could use it and stuff. I gotta do that at some point. And by the way, leave my info for next week. I'll do that one. But
Right.
yeah, guys. So the next segment here is the favorite project you're working on.
Working projects. And yeah, these are specifically the stuff that we're working on.
Yeah.
So who would like to begin?
I will hold off till the end, I think.
All right.
I say Jay goes first because he's the guest after all.
Sounds good.
Go for it, Jay.
Well, the thing that we're currently how do I get started? So we did a Kickstarter for Bloodlines and Black Magic earlier in the year, back in, I believe it was in March or April. We did the Kickstarter.
We talked about it, so we were familiar with it. Hopefully, our viewers are too.
Yep. Yeah, Bloodlines and Black Magic is a Pathfinder compatible modern horror occult adventure supporting campaign setting. Black Magic it uses a variant set of rules called the 07 rules. They're based off of the E6 rules that and it's a campaign setting that Boomer and Clinton Boomer and I have been working on, for the last 2 years. And we brought on a great team. We brought on Ben McFarland, Brian Suskind, Savannah's done some stuff on it. Tim Hitchcock's involved. And I'm scared to leave anybody out. There's a bunch of people that are on it, and I'll probably throw some more names in because I don't have the list in front of me, but it's a lot of people. Eric Frankhouse is part of it as well. Just a solid team. And we've just been building this variant set of 07 rules that support occult adventures. It supports horror adventures, and it's this darker kind of twisted world. And of course, it's Boomer and I, so it's going to be a little crazy anyway. And we're planning on releasing it October 31st. We're actually getting ready to release the playtest document. I'm hoping next week, right before GenCon goes out. Oh, you're audible again. Oh, I'm reading notes too. But it's been a passion project I've had for a long time. I've always been a fan of D20 Modern. I was back in 2000 when Wizards released it. I've seen people make the attempt to bring the modern variants to Pathfinder, and I haven't really seen anything that really met my level of satisfaction. And so we did a Kickstarter. We didn't quite hit our first stretch goal, but we definitely funded. We've been working on it. We had probably 85 to 90% of the manuscript going into it already finished, but we went ahead and added a bunch of material. We've got and Savannah, you kind of already know this because you've been peeking in from the side. We've got a bunch of cool adventures, a bunch of great NPCs, and a bunch of really awesome variant rules that I think when they come out, people are just going to be like, yep, this is my jam. And I want to be clear because we've had people ask us, it's not Call of Cthulhu and it's not World of Darkness. So we're not doing Clans of Vampires, we're not doing Tribes of Werewolves, we're not doing Insanity and the Great Old Ones. What we are doing, and which I think makes this this really awesome project, is we're doing urban myths. So we're doing adventures with Slender Man. We're doing adventures with Crybaby Bridge. We're doing
Chicago
adventures.
Batman.
Yeah, but I don't know about Chicago Batman. It's
I'm
It's the
assuming
newest one. It's really neat. Check it out.
Assuming with the Slender Man, you dealt with the license issues with that, right?
I don't want to let on too much now.
Okay, well, I'm just making sure because a lot of people think that it's public domain or whatever, and it's not. It's really not. Someone owns the IP for that.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe we'll be pulling that out.
That's what I wanted to make sure. I'm like, you either can reach out to them,
Did I say Slenderman? I meant Chicago Batman.
Yeah, exactly. You might want to look into it because there's a guy who owns it and manages the IP really aggressively. So
well, then I guess we'll be pulling that one adventure out. I mean, we wanted to basically
you can change it to Creepy Man or Tall Man. It just can't be Slender Man as the IP because that's literally his intellectual property.
Well, I know.
Kind of like how Minecraft has Enderman.
Yes, exactly. It's not Slender Man, it's Enderman. So you can do that. You just can't call it Slender Man.
The whole point was to take urban myths and to take urban legends, specifically stuff that dealt with horror, things that creeped people out, things that like Crybaby Bridge. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with that myth, but we wanted to take a bunch of those American and European kind of urban myths and twist them in and do some really, really fun things with it. So.
Reach out to him. He's actually pretty receptive to it from what I hear, too.
Cool. Right on. Well, I'll do that. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you about this after, Scott. So, that's just a common example that we use. We haven't written anything about it, and we're not actually putting any of the main myths into it. The fun thing is we're creating a whole bunch of new urban legends. Boomer and I have been working on some really
those are so creepy.
Well, you read the Untitled. I'm sorry?
Ugh. I was just going to say some of them are so creepy. Like, not to spoil anything, but there's one with teeth. It's real weird.
Yeah, we've done some pretty dark things. I actually had a really good talk with Eric Mona last year about what we could kind of get away with and staying Pathfinder compatible.
Nice.
He was pretty awesome about it. He was like, hey, you cannot, you still can't do X, Y, and Z. So we had to kind of, I don't want to say refocus. We had to kind of take some of the wild ideas we really wanted to run around with and hedge them back and go, all right, we'll stay in this narrower channel. But
I mean, one thing you could definitely do is you can go ahead and release your main thing, and then go ahead and be like, all right, after you put out your source books or whatever, be like, hey, this one source book is not Pathfinder compatible. Just don't have a logo on it. Just say I'm not running Pathfinder compatible.
I'm trying to ply Eric with Drinks GenCon into giving me a mature license for Pathfinder because I'm tired of doing 5e stuff. I want to go back to supporting Paizo, but they have to just trust that I'm not going to do the tournament of fucking rapists and add an extra level of discretion for the license and just let it. Come on, get it. Just damn it, Eric. So yeah, that's my goal for GenCon is to convince Eric to start thinking about it.
It's something I understand, and I understand that there's a need for maturity when you're approaching some of these topics. And fortunately, I've worked with some amazing game designers that generally hold pretty tight to that level of maturity. So you don't have to worry about some of that crazy stuff. Of course, Story Studios we have a higher standard, so we're not going to.
Do you know how it started? And also, you know that Mists of Akuma couldn't be Pathfinder, right? There's stuff in there that would. There's the school that was once turned into zombified children, that right there out the window. But yeah, the way it started is because they made feats themselves, in-house PRD feats that could have been used and manipulated in such a way to allow for an NPC to I don't want to say it wrong, but it was skirting on the edge of immorality and unethical stuff relating to children, and that's why there's this huge anti-children clause, because they almost broke it in house, and then they're like, fuck. Well, because if they released that, then it would have been not verboten for a third party to do something salacious with it. So
it's also, you know what? It's also there's a level of maturity that's required in game design that I think some people don't always see. There's not necessarily transparency in design, and so people don't necessarily know how people develop continuity, how they develop products and how they establish continuity. And then when we say yes or no to particular topics and why we do so. And so at least in-house, and Savannah, you've worked with us, Mike's worked with us, so you guys kind of know our approach to things. And we like to keep things not super Puritan, but we're not going to take the low road. So there needs to be some visceral kind of realism that people can, they need something that they can bite onto. They need some meat. But at the same time, you don't need to just. There's a lot more with some nuance and some subtlety.
It's such a weird rule because the border Mordvig where the children literally kill the moms as they're being birthed. Okay, but I can't have a zombie kid.
Right.
Oh my god.
We came really close to that with Necropunk. We had to go. All right, where's the line in there? Because we're not really horror as much as there's some biotech stuff. We're all right, we probably shouldn't put kids' skulls over here, and that artwork, we can't really use that piece.
Get away with kids' skulls and artwork, but yeah, we had a dude who contributed to Hypercore, and he wanted to have his character contribution be the guy that ends child soldiering in Africa, which I was like, oh,
that's cool,
fucking great, and he really wanted him to be a teenager, and they were like, he can't be a teenager. And I was like, are you serious? So in the Pathfinder version, he has a mustache. And in the 5e version, he doesn't have a mustache. That's the only difference. And I had to change the story a little bit because I couldn't have him be a kid. But he still ends child soldiering because that's okay. But it's not okay to be him a kid putting himself in danger to end child soldiering.
We
even
actually
though he
have
himself was child soldier.
We actually have an NPC in Bloodlines and Black Magic that was it's based off one of our senior backers who wanted a similar figure. And this guy, the art for it is amazing because this guy's just wearing a trench coat. He's got a shotgun on his shoulder, and he's the guardian of the lost ones. And his entire purpose is to make sure that these homeless children and these abused children, that the people that do harm to them are brought a reckoning. And the NPC is just fantastic, and again, it's something that will be explained. We're going to sidebar why the backers chose these. We're going to give them a little bit of showtime so they can see, like, hey, these are why we're using some of the NPCs. But again, we're trying to maintain a degree of nuance and subtlety. So storytellers, if they want to tell that visceral kind of real story, they can do it behind their screens. We're going to give as many tools as we can without it being just vulgar and blatant in your face, because I don't think it's necessary.
I just don't like being leashed.
So,
I hate the leash.
Well, I agree. I do too, but that's a licensing thing, and that's probably a longer discussion for another time. So.
That's what I'm saying. Like, my goal at Gen Con, like, we have to get Eric drunk and to agree to seriously think about it, and then email him.
Certain, even if we were to just like randomly get Eric Bona drunk, not that I'm suggesting we do that, I don't know that would, constitute consent, because if he agrees to do something, well, he's
I wouldn't try to work him in. That's not how you would. No, that would never work. Okay. But you got to get him to admit that he started to think about it, and then you can create a bridge later that you walk across.
Right.
So
I'm just saying, like, that's my goal. Get the
things moving a little bit here. Yeah. Do you want to talk about what you were working on?
Yeah, I did my first Legendary Games product. It's not a Mike Myler product. I converted the Mad Doctor's Formulary and Mutant Manifesto to 5e, so that's on the way to layout. And then yeah, it's nice. I don't always have to work on my stuff. I'm okay with working on other people's stuff.
Same here.
But yeah, I don't know. And like Clinton and Jason write good stuff, and it was a fun translation. And then I'm kind of bummed because I thought I was going to help 2 different companies get books to Gen Con, but Ryan Costello didn't turn in the print file when I told him, so he won't have his book, which is really shitty because, like, the one side of it is an adventure, and then if you flip it over, it's like a character class to a company adventure. I did like one of those reverse flip books. Yeah. So like, I really want to see it. Yeah. And then End Transmission Games wanted to get. They're gonna have a couple of. In the Google document, I guess people want to think.
Mike, can you? You're still good here? Sorry, for 1 second it kicked me out for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh.
But anyway, we got everything you were saying up until about 2 seconds ago.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. So I got to do a bunch of cool logos, and it was all like cyberpunky space stuff. So my particular favorite, like Oni mask that's like smoking a blunt with guns and drugs and money and sex nearby it, and it's just this tonight we're gonna fuck shit up in graffiti. And I was like, yes, I can definitely do this. So I don't know. And it's just like whenever I do graphic design, it's almost always like my own stuff. So it's cool to get hired out by other people to do cartography or whatever. Like,
I've actually,
and I got to help them out.
I've actually had really bad experiences working for other companies doing graphic design. I've gotten like conned out of money a few times doing it. So I've taken a step back from that. I've had a few good experiences though too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do it unless I'm, yeah. I don't set out to do it. It's not my main deal.
We have our own team of graphic artists. I do a little bit of it myself, but for the most part, I just hire professionals to do it because they need the work. They went to school for it, and I want to give them my money. Not because I like giving away money, but I love this community, and I think for it to work better, there needs to be more moving parts and more people that are invested in art and actually making money. Now, as we all know, a lot of that happens overseas as well, but a lot of it happens in the country too. So most of my local graphic artists are here in the U.S.
I'm really happy with my. I started doing my own fucking graphics. Yeah, because the amount of control you have when you have it's really weird doing verticalization work like that.
Yep.
Because now I'm not just juggling spinning 5 fucking plates. I'm spinning 5 things with 10 plates on them each. But having that much control over what the final product looks like. When I did Wasteland and I got it, I was just for a good 2 hours, I just looked at it. I was like, this is fucking perfect. And I had this grin on my face for 2 fucking hours.
Let's say the first time I actually got done with a book, because originally I had a guy doing my artwork, but it was and he was great, but he just cost like way too much for what we needed. I'm like, all right.
I know the time you spend communicating between people kills me too. I hate that.
So I went ahead, and when I put it together, I was just like,
Emails.
it took me like 2 projects to figure out how to do it. Really, I still have him do one. I did my own version of it, and then I put out another one. But my favorite one was alternate path aesthetic characters. Oh, dude, I must have spent like a week worth of like work days, maybe 2 weeks worth of work days on that book. Like I actually got like, you know, like the poem that does like the wind, like the tornado style thing. Yeah, I did that with some stuff, but it actually is readable. There's quotes at the bottom of every page. I don't know. I worked it into like where the artwork is. Oh my god, it's my favorite book. And Enzite, guys, when we reviewed it, was like, this is the next level of formatting. What did you do? What? I'm like, I'm so proud. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be like exploding in my face, you know?
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
So Savannah, what are you on right now? Mike,
Right
you're done,
now
right?
I'm working on, what's that?
I was saying, Mike, you're good, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'm currently working on, I'm running a playtest game on Friday at GenCon. And I mentioned it on here before.
Yeah, the contested game, right?
It's,
Is this not
yes, it's tentatively called Spiders and Souffles.
Oh, yeah, I want to see that because I was so excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna have all the stuff. I'm gonna have pre-gens. If you want, like, I'll run it sometime while we're there.
Are you gonna do minis? Because I've got a ton of Dark Elf minis from when I ran Rise of the Drow, and I can bring some down for you. I have a lot of.
I am very low on any kind of minis, so like that would be great. I'm gonna try and do up the NPCs soon. So yeah.
I'll hit you up after the
have
meeting,
minis.
and I'll let you know, or you can let me know what you need, and I'll pack them up for you and bring them down.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so that's what I'm in the middle of.
Is that your 12 to 4 game? Because I might want to come in and drop in on that and see what's going on.
I believe it is, yes. It's
Okay.
one of the $4 slots, I think, and it says that the table's full, but that's really kind of hard to guess. So, yeah.
But yeah, so I am, and I will talk about this a little bit more later in this Pathfinder Starfinder section. Internally, we are working on a Starfinder racial guide. It is going to be Starfinder compatible. I'll talk about how you guys can get in on that in a bit. But we literally have all this in-house art of aliens we never used. I literally got like 90 of them together and put them on like our development group and went, guys, circle what you want to write and just get back to me. And so we have a bunch of them coming out. My goal is to have this be a really fast turnaround product and have it done by the 17th or 20th-ish, where they have when it comes out. So we are really excited. It's also a great learning experience to learn how the mechanics work a little bit better. While we're doing a playtest game, while we're doing read-throughs, and we're just like, oh, this mechanic does not work. Stop. Do not do it. Get the hell out of there. It's great. But we've also been able to talk to some fans and other people about like some of our rule questions. We're hoping the community kind of learn at the same time we're learning. So, Mike, yes, one of the races, the Devron, are actually turtle people.
Ah.
So
Are they
I
dead
mentioned
turtle
something
people?
about what?
Are they dead turtle people?
No, but they can be killed, and there's a section on their death rights.
Mm.
So I don't know. It discusses them being killed, I guess. So.
See, I kind of feel like in my Spiders and Souffles game, I just want to add that some, like, restaurant, like some rival restaurant, makes, like, turtle soup or something, so I can submit it for review sometime and get
mysterious monks that only serve turtle soup.
So, in our thing,
I've been trying to think of some like cool restaurants. Like I want to have one that keeps like a couple trolls on staff and like carves bits of them off to serve as steak and stuff. So
Nice.
if anybody has any
Saving.
weird Underdark restaurants,
How much shoulder do you want? Just say when.
yeah, very much.
So, in the book, we have, let's see, currently the Devron, who are like living turtle shell people that live inside of it, and they're a 200% snark. They're all about snark and cynicism. We have the...
Oscar.
What is it? Is it the Bobo Hoorah or something like that? Bahura or something like that? And they are basically the most naive, trusting, like, plump little race in the universe, and, like, when
no.
someone first came on their planet, they didn't realize they were there for like a decade. And they're like, why? Like, we didn't detect any life. Why didn't we detect anything? They're like, oh, we just didn't want to go. We knew you were there. We just didn't really want to like interfere. It's cool. Just go ahead. You're like settling the planet, and they're just like, no, we're good, man. It's all good. They have pheromones that make everyone like them, and they're just really chill and polite and happy and want to be everyone's friend. The thing that got rejected was the fact that they taste delicious. Because I'm like, the guy writing it, Ian, was like, I am not writing a paragraph about cannibalism in my first racial entry in this book. I'm like, let me send the picture. Goblins, just like they kill it, and they want to hunt them down because of that. We also have the pissed off tiny frog race. They conquer empires, but are only a foot tall.
Is that the official name, Scott? The pissed off tiny frog race?
No, it's better. It's better because of the Frokes.
Okay.
The book itself, though, is going to be comedic in nature. We're actually looking at it in much more of a like.
I hadn't guessed.
Yeah, no, we're doing like a Futurama-y thing instead of, or like a Terry Pratchett thing, or like a like Hitchhiker's Guide thing. We're drawing a lot from there rather than like straight like science fantasy stuff. So we're gonna have a weird name for it. It might be something like Aliens to Invite to Your Birthday Party or something. I don't know. We're gonna have fun with it. It's gonna be our first product. We're gonna see what people think of it. We have some more serious stuff. I have that utopian sci-fi thing I'm converting over. I read through it. I just decided I am going to do a straight conversion on it, so I'm pretty excited about that too.
Yeah, yesterday I checked that the On This Day thingy, and there's this fucking game. I still can't find it. It kills me.
The Smurfs.
Yeah, you play as okay, all right. So this was for Commodore 64. My dad had it. It was a real fucking thing. I've confirmed it with other people who have also played it, but I can't figure out the title or find it online. You are Gargamel, and all you do is torture Smurfs. You put them in boiling vats of tar and oil and like skin them and all kinds of terrible shit. And it's really fun. And it was obviously like some underground hacked thing from the 1980s, and I'm never gonna find it again. And I posted about it, and then somebody in one of my Book of Exalted Darkness games was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm like 13% Gargamel." And I was like, "Oh shit, Smurfs!" So now we've got perps that we've added, or well, they're called Purpura, but perps for short, and they're basically little purple Smurfs that will make like a little subsystem for like torturing, and like this is what you can do with a perp brain, and so on and so forth.
There's actually there's a society in Wisconsin called that they do all the Midwest games like GenCon and Nexus and a bunch of those other ones called the Dead Gentleman Society, and they run only out of publish or out of print games. And the guy that runs it, I don't know his name, but I sat down with him a couple years ago to play a game, and he actually ran us through the Pathfinder variant of The Simpsons, and it was one of the most effed up games I've ever played in. But I've seen this guy run Smurfs versus Cthulhu. Oh no, I've seen him run Sesame Street versus Cthulhu. I've seen the Smurfs Pathfinder variant. I've seen so many like really messed up things, and I'm just like, every time I get it, if I'm at the con and I'm free and not actually working, I try to get into one of their games because they're just 4 hours of madness and fun, and it's always a lot of fun.
All right, Dead Gentleman Society, everybody.
Love it.
That in,
Dead Gentleman Gamers or something like that.
Gamers. All right. Yeah.
So
I'll have to look at GenCon.
So the next section we got here is favorite new project that's not yours. I
Yes.
don't have anything today, guys, so I'm going to step back and pass it on to
You guys
whoever
are
wants to take
so
that.
terrible about this. I'm gonna prop up the Medusa's Guide for Gamer Girls, Feminism and Gaming.
Cool.
I didn't work on this because I have a penis, but lots of people who don't have those worked on this, and I
Well,
strongly
specifically, you also identify as a dude.
support it. That is also true. That is, although I don't know why I don't know where the chicken and egg situation is there, but yeah, that's true.
So that's Christina Stiles, right?
That is a Christina
Yes.
Stiles Presents product. Yes,
I'm like that.
it's
It's a Medusa thing.
different
sir.
Hmm?
So it's a Medusa thing, so it has to be her.
Yeah. But yeah. If you know any gamer girls, tell them about it. And I think it would make a great gift if you have like a niece or a cousin or something is like kind of interested in gaming and not sure what to make of it. Because if I was if I was looking at it, I'd be like, oh, this seems like a toxic place for me. Maybe I don't want to get into it. So yeah.
So here's a weird question. It's kind of a talking point. Do you guys remember the book Confessions of a Part-Time Sorceress?
I have heard of it, but I've never read it.
So
I don't think so.
It's an interesting book. Came out, had to be like almost a decade ago, and it's this lady who worked in, I think it was the Wizards of the Coast office or something like that, and she didn't really know what D&D was. And I think she was like their receptionist or like in marketing. So she wasn't like touching the product. She was just kind of like doing the sales stuff of it. I don't want to tell you what she was. I can't remember it all. But anyway.
Oh, there's a link in the Twitch.
Yeah, there you go.
I just pulled it up. It was by Shelley. Oh, I'm going to murder her last name and feel like an a-hole, so I'm not going to try to say it. Shelley M.
But yeah,
it was released September 18th, 2007.
Hey, so just about a decade ago. So yeah, basically it's her experiences as a woman who had never played D&D before, being invited to kind of sit with the developer group and play games, and like their home games though, and how typical, I'll say stereotypical feminism kind of, or female outlook on gaming. Like she was like, well, like there's the whole thing about like, well, what type of shoes does my character have? I don't freaking care. Who cares? And she went on an adventure shoe shopping or something like that. And that sounds really stereotypical, but she enjoyed describing in great detail how her character looked. And she got really attached and talked about a really interesting game. I didn't read all of it. But yeah,
that's just the part.
Yeah. So they ended up. It kind of ends up being a divisive thing because a lot of people have said, "Oh my God, I love this. Is what got me into it," and a lot of people have been like, "This is stupid. This is super stereotypical. Why would you do this?" I had a friend, Meg, who bought the book because she went to UAT, the school I went to, in the game dev program, and she was in the art program, and she hadn't played D&D before, and she kind of sat in on a few games I was running, and then she bought that book, and the next week she sat down at the table. So sometimes you just need that, doesn't matter what the ostracized group is, they just kind of need to be handed a extended hand going, hey, look, this is the way that the industry kind of currently is. It's interesting to read. I got it for my wife, and she only read like a page of it and then put it back on the shelf, so it wasn't her thing.
Yeah, Steph is impatient with gaming. Everybody takes too fucking long doing whatever they're doing.
And Christina doesn't like the mechanics. She doesn't get the mechanics as much.
Why are you planning? Could it be done by now?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Chris gets whiny when we play over 4 hours at a time.
Oh.
See, I like to marathon game. My sessions end up being like, all right, guys, we're meeting like once every 2 weeks, so let's do a 12-hour session. Just go, man. 18 hours,
wow,
whatever. I love that. I just love, and we roll through stuff. The problem is sometimes we'll roll through what the GM had planned for that day really quick, and then they're like, all right, we're going into unexplored territory, guys, let's go. Especially if it's like, we don't like a lot of modules, we do a lot more like free stuff. So when I'm GMing, that's kind of how I grew up GMing, so it's like sometimes, all right, so we've run out of the stuff I planned today. I had it written in my book here, and it's like, you guys went through 10 pages of prepared material in about 4 hours, and we still got another, 8? All right, guys, I'm doing this off the cuff. Let's go. But you never tell your players that. You just always act like you're prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
always
off
give
the
the
cuff
appearance of
is my
preparedness.
favorite way to
Oh,
DM.
totally.
Like, it took effort to not, want to write Spiders and Soufflés as an outline instead of an adventure. And it's like, no, this will one day be a product. People need more than,
Yep.
outlines. Properly numbered outlines, Scott.
This is how all my campaign
You know
settings
what I
start, because
mean.
I'm like, I don't want to build an adventure that people are just going to derail, so I'll just build the whole world, and then no matter where they go, I'll be ready for them. And then here I am now with Apocalypse, Eastern Fantasy Noir Steampunk. We're working on the Decopunk Evil game, and then Hypercore and Varanthia has 6, 7. Yeah, I just got tired of people derailing me, so I was like, fuck you, I will prepare for everything.
Yeah, that's what I've done with a few of mine. Generally, like Savannah says, I do notes for my sessions. I'm like, all right, these are the 5 points I want to hit. Here's some creatures that would fit in here.
It'll be bullet points. Like, I need them to get to this fucking place. Like,
I tend to bullet point out like links to monsters that might be relevant for the area, traps I might use or whatever. But generally, it's like I don't have a set like you have to go A, B, C. Smiths of Sindel, the last big campaign I ran like that, and it was so much fun. We ended up at the end doing a like Metal Gear Solid style stealth mission at the end. It was awesome with Sven the Shirtless Sorcerer.
Sven.
Sven, yes.
On the other side,
scene codex. Actually, I'm writing. I want to put Sven in there at some point. Anyway, sorry. What was that, Savannah?
I was gonna say on the other side, if especially at conventions, sometimes you suddenly have players who are like, I have to leave this game an hour early, or whatever. If you need to wrap up faster than you thought you needed to, montaging, way to go.
Oh, definitely, good idea.
Montage.
Because like there was one, I was running a Pony Finder adventure, which was called like Vault of the Pirate Queen or something, and
they're using the fucking style guide. Thank fucking God.
Yeah,
Thank you, God.
well, technically,
Okay,
this
sorry.
one was done by Playground Games, who licensed the Pony Finder stuff, so they are technically a separate entity with a contract.
Right.
But anyway, so they got down to the bottom of the tomb, and they had to fight the Pirate Queen's ghost, and we didn't have time for that. We had like 15 minutes, and that's not enough for a Pathfinder combat.
No,
it is not.
And so I'm like, okay, montage, how do you teach Broken Horn about friendship? And so, like, the bard did a stirring song about friendship, and the sorcerer casts, like, light to show her the light of friendship, and it was hilarious. Like, in a montage, you can't fail, and you can use the mechanics weirdly. So...
That's kind of what we did with Cinematic Crescendos. Is basically you get to have, like, a one-round montage.
Yep, except this is, like, the entire combat is a montage.
Yeah.
So definitely, like, overpowered, like, not something you'd want in a game like Hypercore, where the threat of death is kind of, like, part of the experience. But yeah, for stuff like that, it's real good. And my Skulls and Shackles game, actually, since we only meet for, like, 2 or 3 hours a week, that's not enough time for ship-to-ship combat.
Oh, God, no.
So I'm like, montage! How do you defeat this ship? And, like, one poses a problem, the next one solves it and poses another problem, and, like, they pass it around the circle, and I'll kind of interject or clarify as is reasonable. One time they pretended to be a ghost ship and got them all to jump overboard. It was...
I love it. So, I think that kind of wraps the favorite project thing, unless, Jay, you got something.
I do, actually.
Okay, cool.
I wanted to talk about Seven Seraphs because
We have
we're
a
talking about that
Kickstarter section where we talk about Kickstarter.
Please. Okay, fine.
We got a bunch of people on that product here. We will be doing that in the Kickstarter section.
Now we will talk about Starfinder and Pathfinder news and speculation. And
I can tell you some awesome Starfinder stuff right away.
As always, we begin this section with the link to the huge 76-page document that people have been collating with all of the Starfinder information releases.
So can I just give a little preamble here?
Go ahead.
The subscription ones, service PDFs have gone out. I currently have it, and I will not be doing a review this week on it because it is a really big book, and I want my co-hosts here to just not get wall of texted by me. Yeah. I have a 9-page document of notes right now. So just in this section, we will be talking about it, just not this week. We don't want to, like, we're going to wait for everyone to get their hands on it at GenCon and, like, kind of go through it. But yeah, that having been said, Jay, you want to talk about it a little bit, you said?
So I was about 2 weeks ago. I went out to Iowa Anime with Ryan Berg from Party Kill Games, a buddy of mine. I try to help him work cons when I can, and they've been developing spell decks for Starfinder, and they will be releasing at GenCon. They will be at the Hero Lab booth. And I don't know how many copies he's bringing. I don't, want to throw it out. But I actually got to see the product. It's already been printed. It's already ready, boxed, good to go. It's completely licensed. Everything is on the up and up. And the spell cards look fantastic. Obviously, they can't come out until Starfinder officially releases. But when it comes out, those spell cards those spell decks are going to be really, really fantastic. The graphics are great. They look good. And I'm pretty excited. Now, I'm not super excited. I'm not necessarily a sci-fi guy, but I love spell cards, and I think it's a cool idea. So what they're doing with it looks really cool. So if you're going to be at GenCon and you want to add a nice little kind of fun thing to go with your Starfinder game, check those out. I don't know how many Brian's bringing down, and I'm sorry, Brian, if you get, like, swarmed at the booth, but I told you I'd get you, buddy.
That's pretty good.
So,
the two things I will say about, I have a few bullet points I wanted to say. It is an awesome book. It does itself justice. It is definitely Pathfinder 2.0. They simplified a lot of things, like, just as an example, they removed, like, the ability score adjustments on, like, size categories and stuff, but they also made some things more complex, which may alienate a few players, like the stamina HP and resolution mechanic is a little weird. Just kind of, it's a different beast. Remember that.
Robert's like green beer.
So it's about 500 pages. A little bit over, I think it's 520 or something, and the art is gorgeous, layout is gorgeous, very coherent style. But the cool thing is I actually reached out after I started reading it to the licensing address at Paizo, and I was like, hey guys, what's the deal with third-party Starfinder? They have a logo, they have a license that is separate from Pathfinder. If you're working third-party, you need to go put your application, as I put ours in this morning. And this time I listed as Little Red Goblin Games LLC, other than, I didn't know that when you put your like license request in, it went online the first time, so I put it as Scott Gladstein. And I was like, I'm just interested to see what I can do with this license. And that is like under my like name now. I'm like, oh, god damn it. But anyway, we put our license in today. They have the new compatibility license logo for Starfinder. Another interesting thing is, since you can't reference things like the Drift, which is their like hyperspace light speed thing, they actually suggest something. They say, hey, the open game content version of this is called Hyperspace or Hyperdrive, right there in like their product identity declaration, which is on page 2, not like with the rest of the OGL, so I had missed it initially. But yeah, good information for developers. Go check it out. We'll post up the, I'm sure Mike will add the link to that when this video goes up or something. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. I think we're going to hold off releasing anything, obviously, and I don't know if they're going to even approve licenses until the 17th, probably, when it comes out officially, I think. So, yeah, have fun with that, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Mike, by the way, Mike, you keep posting those things up. I actually see them on the recording.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But yeah, it'll be pretty good. Anything else for
yeah.
Starfinder?
I'm going to step away for just a half a second to turn the light on. I'll be right back, okay?
No problem. So,
I'm looking forward to seeing it at GenCon. I want to get a hands on a copy. I tried to convince Cosmo to like hide one in the booth for me. He's like, I cannot do that. I was like, are you sure you can't do that? He's like, no, Mike, I cannot do that. We're really like they explicitly say that we're not allowed to hide copies in the booth for people.
So hide it outside the booth. Clearly.
Yeah.
It's just a scavenger hunt.
Maybe. I'll probably have better luck with Eric.
Chapter 3 is over at booth 2475.
Yeah. And my friendly local game store owner will be there, so if he sees me rolling, well, I guess he won't see me because he's blind. So, hey, if I do get a copy, I have no worries. All right. But yeah. So moving on to D&D 5e news and speculation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new Unearthed Arcana. It's called the Pillars of XP. It's an alternative system. You level every 100 XP. Rewards are by pillar, and most things are recommended to be 10 XP for exploring an item or a location or interacting socially in a meaningful way or a combat scenario.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
The one thing I didn't like about it, I like the idea of including all three aspects, social, exploration, and combat. That's obviously for a group that wants a good balance, not one that's just like, run and gun, just get things with a stick group.
They include some like advice if you want to take one of the things out that's mostly combat and social or etc.
Well, so here's one of the things I don't like is that it talked about doing it at an individual character level instead of a party level. It always weirds me out a little bit when like, oh, guess what? I'm 3 levels higher than my friend or a level or 2 higher than my friend. That always weirds me out. It's like, Yeah, this is not a competition if you're doing a competitive or a collaborative storytelling effort, and it makes it kind of a, no, you go over here. I'm going to get the EXP. You know, that's just kind of, I don't know how much I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly impressed by it. I mean, I'd much prefer leveling by story arc, and I only really give out levels when I'm like, this makes sense to me for you to have a level now. Otherwise, you guys might sit for like 10 fucking games if you just dick around for 10 games. Like,
and I feel like it encourages players to interact with creatures more than just try and stab them.
Yep.
Because since they don't have to kill things to get XP, and I know that they're like, oh, if they win this person over, then they get XP equal to blah, blah, blah. But, like, you know, my party insisted on seducing a ghoul one time.
Ooh.
But,
Ooh, that's
yeah, it was real weird.
Necrophilia.
It was real weird. To be fair, there was
one.
no, like... There was no physical intimacy. They ended up winning her over and convincing her that they were more entertaining alive than his dinner. Which, you know, she was willing to agree with that. They read her, like, weird love letters that the first mate of their pirate ship had written to the captain. You know, real bad stuff like, you shiver my timbers. Yeah, it was bad. I'm like, okay, guys, your homework today: write Master Scourge's love letters to Mr. Flood.
So.
But anyway, yeah, I feel like leveling up by story arc just makes for more interaction and less stabbing.
So,
you know, can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
So,
of course.
I think one of the things that I really, really enjoyed, and I know we're crawling up here on almost a decade, a couple of years to be a decade of Pathfinder, you know, since its official release, and one of the things that I've always been really happy seeing with Paizo's APs is there's ample opportunities for people to avoid combat. There's always they're really smart about writing in meaningful conflict resolution that doesn't have to defer to violence, and I think that's important in our society, and I think it has some important social impacts because not taking anything away from classic D&D, but a lot of people, a lot of gamers were raised on shoot it with a fireball or hit it with a sword, and using things like diplomacy and using alternative ways to resolve conflict is a really, really important skill for people to learn in general. So that Paizo does this so regularly is pretty awesome.
One of the things I want to kind of piggyback on with that is, so I do a lot of live action gaming, and I went to this game, Mythical Journeys up in Connecticut, and they do a great job of allowing a lot of times conflict to be resolved alternatively. I mean, it is still a boff game to go ahead and beat the hell out of people, but it's, you know, 48 hours and characters over a weekend. But a lot of the larger ones, like Amped or DAG, just there isn't that level of things. Like, we had one guy who was the regent for a while, or not regent, what is he called? Guy running the chapter for a bit, who really wanted to go and encourage storytelling stuff, but very rarely could you actually, like, do that. And I'm known as the flurb there, that's what they call it, because I love to roleplay it. There was this one where we had to break into it was set up like there was a bunch of walls, there was like a big divot. You could jump across, you can get in. There's little passages with like a door that only the enemies could pass through because there was like some magical barrier. And I literally went up and I was like, look, I tossed my weapons away and I went, in the middle of like this big brawl, I was just like, to their big wizard, I'm like, hey man, I just want to see the stone. I want to see, I have this background in this, that, and other thing, and I would like to give you the information. You can kill me if you need to, but like, let me go ahead and talk. And I was able to walk in, get the stone, and walk out. Like, I will just take care of it. Don't worry about it. And the best part is the guy running the game was like, oh cool, go ahead and do it. Unfortunately, as soon as I grabbed the stone, the players jumped the ditch, killed everyone, and I walked out like, So yeah, a lot of times that alternate conflict resolution doesn't translate to a lot of other mediums, so it's great to see it in games like Pathfinder and D&D and whatever. But that's a hallmark of a good GM, not a good system, in my opinion. That's just...
Well,
you know,
it is a hallmark of a good GM, but they are pretty particular in writing that material into the APs. They'll give you that. They'll spend the extra 175 to 200 words if necessary to say, and if the PCs find a better way to do this, award them XP as if they defeated its encounter.
Yeah. Mike, what do you want to add?
Classic D&D has changed. It's like comparing old English and the English we use now.
Totally.
Like Gygax has said, like when you go dungeon delving, the idea was you would go in, get as far as you could, and then run back outside to like recover and survive, not like go in and murder, slaughter your way through all of it, or in this case, diplomancy your way through.
And I love my diplomancy.
Yes, diplomancy is the best school of magic.
So, Mike, what is this next thing here? The Guild Ada program.
To talk about tie-in stuff. So, the DM's Guild has started something called the Guild Ada program, where they handpick third-party publishers from the DM's Guild to highlight products of. They give them a special logo, and then they give them early access to upcoming products, so they can make tie-in material to put said logo on. There was a little bit of a fight on my Facebook over this. I did not participate because I know a troll when I see one.
Yep.
But I don't think it's good for anybody except for those specific highlighted people, and good for them. I don't have anything against the creators that are chosen. I just have problems with DM's Guild, and this is more of the like brutal, thuggish third-party market tactics that I've been talking about WotC doing for some time now.
Just
and
real
it's
quick.
just point. Yeah, I don't know.
Real quick heads up, guys. We are pushing time a little bit, so we may have to roll a little quicker through the next few things.
Hey, before we end the 5e section, can I add one quick thing?
Sure.
We're going to be dropping Rune's Bestiary in 5e. The conversion. One of the people who graduated from design camp, Robert Fairbanks, has been actively converting all of the monsters from Rune. I had to take a break from doing the layout because out here in Boston, and as soon as GenCon is over, we should have it done. And my goal is by the 1st of September to have our first 5e product for Rune out. So if you're a Rune fan, or check the links, I can drop them later on. We'll be doing 5e stuff for Rune, everybody.
Cool.
Woo.
Yeah.
So
I put in the print file for another Mists of Akuma adventure last week. So
cool.
Cool.
So,
I've been running around between cons, Mike, so I'll talk to you about that after the show.
Oh, it's all good. It's working fine.
So
I made a bunch of maps.
So if we can roll on to the next section, other RPG business.
Yes. Other RPG business. Leave my hands. All right. Oh, yeah. The World of Vampires is doing a DM's Guild too. Again,
which is awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's awesome. I think the whole exclusivity thing, killing profit. You've already seen what it did to like the marketplace's viability over at DM's Guild. I don't think there's anything over $5. It pushes away professional publishers from engaging with the system and products, and it directs the attention of the consumer away from where those people might be trying to support it anyway, even though there's this fucked up carousel notice me senpai thing going on over here.
So you know what I think it kind of is? And Mike, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think what they're trying to develop is more a the D20 fan base thing kind of thing. There was like the D20 wiki thing where they were like, here's all the homebrew content, but we're going to go ahead and give it a place to like shine. I'm like, the difference between homebrew and third party is pretty... There's a line. A lot of us wrote homebrew to begin with, but there's professionalism versus, homebrew, and there's a difference there, And I think they're trying
I agree.
to...
I would add, though, that if you're not approaching it as a publisher, if you're a fan or somebody that actively wants to break in and support that world, it's a great model for them. And I want to support those people that want to get into gaming. It's sort of competitive what we're doing for Bloodlines and Black Magic, but I'll still go ahead and promote it because I think it's great for those people that want to break in.
So, the amount of money these people are going to make and the number of people who actually see their product is going to go down, like the product of their work.
Mm-hmm.
And is that going to encourage them to make more of it or to not do that?
Well, we're not going to see until it pans out, though. You got to give it a year or two to see how it works out. I'm not disagreeing.
I don't think in the end it ends up with a net gain of gamers. I think that's a net loss.
Well,
I think the tide is getting lowered by it, not raised.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see then. I don't know. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. And as a publisher, I see exactly where you're coming from. But as a gamer who might see gamer people that just want to write, they want to take their old LARP and put it into Vampire, let them do it. Have fun with it. Be awesome.
So the next thing here is, Mike, you're talking about a lawsuit here.
Oh, yeah, there's a Games Workshop lawsuit. So a guy, I think in Florida, Games Workshop store owner, is suing. Games Workshop for IP theft, saying that they stole Space Marines, among other things. Unfair market manipulation against both store owners and consumers, which is absolutely true and fair.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
And then like a fuck ton more. The website that I have I don't want to share that website because it crashed. It tried to crash my computer with all the Flash stuff on it.
Here, Mike,
But yeah, if you look it up, it's pretty interesting. I think half of it'll probably get thrown out, honestly. And frankly, that's kind of how lawyers operate. They don't walk in with only what they want. They know they're going to have to give away something, so they put a whole bunch of shit on the table when really they're only worried about 3 or 4 dishes.
Yep. So, real quick, for those not familiar, they have a very tight grip on their IP. Me and Mike have talked about it specifically about how, like kind of how Hasbro's treating 5e, which is basically as a license machine. That's what they're really making their money on for 40K and their other licenses over at Games Workshop.
Well, the blood's on the wall. Like with 3D printers, there's the way that their whole basis.
Their $30 a model thing is going to go away. So one of the issues with it is they also have a very brutal contract clause for brick and mortar stores. Like you have to get this much space to 40K, this much to fantasy. You have to take the models we give you. And if you don't, we're going to open a store down the street and undersell you, and you're going to go out bankrupt, so have fun.
And they have total control of supply.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. You have to take the models they want, yeah. And you have to run certain games, and certain people are on board with that. Some people are just like, yeah, I'm totally cool selling 40K minis, that's cool, but sometimes people want more control over, hey, no one here plays orcs, why are you sending me 30 boxes of orcs, and they're going to sit on my shelf for the next 8 months. I had to buy them.
I think what the real killer is going to be for them is that their online model of sales is direct negative competition for the stores that are what worked into this agreement with them, and that's what's going to get them kicked in the nuts.
Here's something. I was talking actually with my friend Andy yesterday at lunch over this, about something similar to this. We were saying, look, you guys know Hero Forge? Yeah. I have a mini I made for myself for Hero Forge.
I have an old man from Hero Forge.
I have a guy in a suit with a rapier and a shield. It's pretty cool.
Yep, that's the first.
So the thing is, that's going to be the future, I feel like. Like, hey guys, I want a Space Marine squad with 2 guys with bolters, 1 guy with a rocket launcher, a sergeant without a helmet, a power sword and a glove, and a bolt pistol, and this guy in the back has the pointing and the auspex in his hand or whatever. Go ahead, print it, go, and they'll sell it at they'll sell it at a profit. It'll still be $20-$30, but it won't. But that's for a squad that normally would cost $60 or whatever. It's ridiculous. And yeah, they're gonna have to embrace the 3D printing technology, I think, because that's really where that market's gonna go. We're building stuff for Nogwall right now that is 3D print accessible. I gotta figure out how to make the file work. It's not doing something right, but anyway. So yeah, other media of interest.
Other media of interest. Wave your arms so I know that this is where I make the change.
So
there's a bunch of awesome stuff on TV right now. Why don't you start with Bobaverse though?
So I got the book Bobaverse 3, All These Worlds. Oh my god, it's awesome! I'm really excited about it. I literally stayed up till midnight to download it and start reading it. About halfway through now. I'm really sad though. It's only because I'm using audiobooks. The first book was 9 hours. The second book was 8.5. This one was 6. And I normally listen to 12 to 20 hour books, and I'm like,
you got to the end and you were like, no!
I'm not done yet. I'm only a few hours in. I'm about halfway done, a little less than that. And it's really good, though. I don't care about one of the storylines because it bounces between 6 storylines at once. But yeah, the Howard storyline doesn't interest me. I'm sure it'll pay off, but it doesn't interest me now. But yeah, it's a great series. It's one of those ones that in 10 years when someone discovers this retro hit or something like that, that's going to blow up. It's kind of a sleeper hit right now. It's gotten amazing sales on Audible, but once people finally get go, oh my god, this is good, it'll be as good as The Martian. As soon as they figure it out, man, I'm telling you. It's that same Ready Player One, The Martian vibe. It fits in with that kind of thing. And he said this, the last interview I saw with the guy was, he said, this is the last one I'm doing in this, of the Bobaverse series, but I might tell other stories in the same universe afterwards. I hope he just continues it. It's a good format. So next we have
show spoilers. Game of Thrones. Everybody saw it this week, right?
Yeah, let's
Yes!
let's keep it a little spoiler light.
Savannah.
I don't care about spoilers. I'm sure plenty of our viewers are more going to care about spoilers.
Yeah, let's keep spoilers
Okay.
light.
You're not going to bother me.
We finally got a big payoff battle. We got some awesome duels, some great character development and resolution. We're going to keep the names a little blurry here. We're putting a censor bar over the names there, but we got some great character development. Everyone took levels
we
in the
warned
prestige
about
class.
we warned about spoilers. I'm ready to talk about it. More Littlefinger, please. More Littlefinger. I am. Oh, and Bran finally stops feeling like Bran. And yeah.
So here's what I feel like. I feel like everyone in all the Stark children took levels in prestige classes. They had levels in like Stark child for like 10 levels, and then they're like, I'm one of the faceless men of Bravos. I took the noble prestige class, Sansa, and you know, what's his name? Bran is just like
Sansa's the only one without a fucking superpower now. And I feel bad for her.
I mean, to be fair, she's trying to take levels in whatever Cersei is.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Badass.
I mean, it's not a flashy superpower, but like...
Devious super bitch? Is that the name of the class?
Hey, I feel like adding bitch to it underscores the fact that they are both badass.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if anybody if I see, oh yeah, you know what, Varys is, well, I don't know if Varys could take that class. I'd let Varys take that class.
Yeah, but he's too much to be like
See, can we just like call them like, I don't know, socially coercive badass? I like that.
Or like
Socially
it's gender neutral.
badass. Doesn't sound as good. But
Have you guys seen? Have you seen the meme where they turn the latest episode into a wargaming, and
Yeah, I saw that.
Max goes up with 1500 points, and House Targaryen is just like, "Oh, I only brought this 5,000 point army, but let's play anyway. It'll be fun." It's pretty dope.
Well, I was surprised by Thug Life guy. He rolls around.
He's not Bran. His name sounds like Bran. Brian.
Bron.
Braun, yeah, dude.
Braun.
Braun surprised me this episode, dude. I thought for sure that he was just gonna be like, I'm out. Like this isn't gonna work out.
Well, the thing is though,
But that bag of
Yeah,
gold,
no,
y'all,
that's my problem with Game of Thrones. I can't keep anyone straight.
Yeah, there are a lot.
You know, it's funny.
Is it Bran? Is it Braun? Is it...
Rickard?
dude
Is
over
it
there?
Rockard? Is it? Yeah.
is it Rickard or Dickard? Because I love that line of,
Oh,
what was your name, dude?
it was,
Okay.
What'd you say your name was? Dickard.
He had such a great opportunity to like correct him though, because when that battle's going down, he could have been like, "What's your name again?" And when he saved him, he could have just been, "My name is Dickon, bitch," because it would have just been like, "You forgot me twice already, and now I just saved you."
Okay, so one thing I was sitting there thinking, like, all right, Daenerys is riding this big freaking dragon thing with no armor. I mean, like, I guarantee you can get some cool, like, draconic looking armor or whatever. Like, the costume department has a lot of stuff, and she just is like, well, whatever, just let me get shot by arrows, the one thing that could kill a rider on this thing.
Yeah.
I had been so far behind in Game of Thrones because I'd been, just so busy with school and work that I had to sit down and binge watch all of season 6 and, the front part of season 7 just to get ready. So I had to take a whole day out just to get caught up because I had no idea what was going on. And my friend was like, "You fail at not knowing Game of Thrones." And she sat me down and we've been watching it since. But yay!
So let's, American Gods. I haven't watched it. I've read the book, though, so...
There hasn't been any new ones, I don't think.
I've just started American Gods. I am only on episode 3, so if we spoiled too much, I'm spoiling
Oh,
for you
Alright,
too.
so
It's great. The only thing that I don't like about it was their casting of Loki. I didn't like that. That was it.
Fair enough.
I thought that was a shitty casting. Everything else has been totally spot on. I've been very pleased with American Gods.
So,
Yeah.
what's the story behind Preacher, Mike?
Oh, Preacher's TV iteration is fucking excellent.
Yeah?
It's got that guy from the original Irish kid from the Misfits TV show.
Okay, yeah.
He is super charismatic and it's easily like he played the vampire.
He played the what's his name? He had Immortality, right?
Yeah, and he's been in a couple spots here or there in
Yeah,
movies too since then. But yeah, it's got him, and then I forget the name of the guy who plays Preacher, but he looks exactly like him, and I've seen him before. And yeah, I don't know, it's really tight. The show's really good. I'm really enjoying it every single week. The cliffhangers are pissing. Fuck you, Seth Rogen, for the cliffhanger. Like, okay, that I don't like how precipitously on the cliff every single episode ends, but it's really good. So be wary. Once you start watching it, you want to keep watching more.
Rick and Morty finally launched its new season. Pickle Rick is freaking hilarious. I'm Pickle Rick! Pickle Rick! That was a good way to launch the series. Dan Hammond actually was on Game Grumps immediately after that, because he's doing with Danny and Aaron, he's doing a new show called, what is it? I don't remember what it's called, but it's about them. It's about a bunch of like a professional gaming team. It's a comedy series. It's on YouTube Red. I'm gonna subscribe for that. I'm gonna check that out. Voltron season 3 hit. I watched it. It was a half-length season. It's only 7 episodes, and the next one's coming out in October, so it's not too long of a wait. But I really dug it. They actually upped their animation budget. You can definitely tell, and it's worth watching. They have a bunch of big shakeups. I'm
halfway through the last episode of season 3. It's really good.
Yeah. There's some very different episodes in there too.
It reminds me a lot of the old show, like a lot of the old show.
Let's see. Then there was the Dark Tower movie. I haven't seen it, but
I hear that they went off script, and I don't understand why they would. Like, I thought that was the whole point of the movie they're making for the fans, but I guess not.
Apparently they just made it a young adult novel movie, and the weird thing is, and I don't trust Stephen King anymore. I haven't trusted him for a long time, but he's always like, guys, this is the adaptation I wanted to make. It's perfect. It's great. It's the one I refused other people bunches of times. And I'm like, no, you didn't. This was just
said it before, and I will say it again. I think Stephen King is a fucking hack. I've always thought he's a hack. He's a very prolific hack that can write competently, but I've never read or experienced Stephen King's story and been like, oh my god.
So I would
I think Fourth Rose Red is the only one that I like actively enjoyed.
So I haven't read a lot of Stephen King outside of the Dark Tower series, but I've literally read every Dark Tower book. I hate Stephen King even though I like those books. It's weird. He occupies this bizarro space. Everyone assumes he's like that corporate shill. Like, what was that scene in Family Guy where they're like, Stephen King, I didn't get a note for your new thing. He's like, grabs the lamp. Lamp monster!
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, in a weird way, he's kind of this weird experimental writer, too. Because he does not like obeying the rules, and it really bites him in the ass more often than not. But he likes to try it. So, like, Dark Tower was his just kind of like, he grabbed onto a bucking bronco and just kind of wrote it. And afterwards, he's all bruised and beat up because he decided it was a good idea to, like, ride with his teeth or something. But, like, it's not a bad book series. It's very experimental, very out there. Stephen King is actually himself a character at one point, but he's a drunk idiot asshole. So I can't really say he's kind of like it's not like self-insert because it is, but it makes sense and it. The problem is they didn't embrace that. They were just like, knight with gunslinger knight runs around with magical power youth boy. Okay, great, cool. That's the end of it. We're gonna jump to the 3rd book just because. You know,
speaking of jumping ahead,
Soward says that Matthew McConaughey is a great creepy sorcerer if you can divorce the source, but I don't know if I believe that.
Have any of you read Stephen King's on writing?
What?
Have any of you read Stephen King's autobiography on writing?
No.
No.
I would recommend reading that.
All right.
So,
so one recommendation for Stephen King's autobiography.
It's not fiction, but it'll give you it might give you a different perspective on his novels and your perspective of him as an individual.
I just on the basis of his stories, I am not enthused.
You don't have to be, but it's still a great book to read.
So,
sure. And he was a professional writer, and he made it like very successfully. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have value as a person or his career doesn't have value. I just like his content is never my cup of tea.
So, Kickstarters are next. I think the one we're all waiting to talk about is Lost Spheres, City of Seven Seraphs. I know Savannah and I are working on it. Jay, are you working on it too?
I am a stretch goal.
Okay. We actually have we've talked about it quite a bit on here. It is launched though with a what is it? Let's look. We
$6,722.
have a 28,000 goal. And that is
111
cool.
backers, over 100 backers already.
Yeah. My guess, I mean, if they're hitting that much in the first day, I'm putting my money down now saying that they're going to make it.
Chris, you should really not reveal all your stretch goals right now. Like it's that is a enthusiastic mistake that I have made twice before, and it's really hard to resist. But like, that's one thing I would definitely tell you. But think that get those off there until they're within sight, and you can use them to generate excitement.
Yep.
Use the project to generate excitement now. Use the stretch goals to generate excitement later. And then if you need to change some of those to backer, it's a good idea not to put those up immediately. But yeah, I pledged earlier today, and you guys all pledged, right?
I'll be pledging when I get back to Wisconsin.
I will be doing it in about after the show probably. I just haven't had a chance to. I've been kind of busy. I've been signing paperwork for a new job and everything. So.
And this is basically
that $10 tier with those 5 prints looks real nice.
And this is like a sigil for after you guys complete the campaign that you're in or whatever, and you're all 18th level and you need somewhere to go, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's calling it out as a campaign capstone. It's kind of an interesting thing when you guys are.
That is a very good idea concept.
Yeah, I like that. Like it's the joining between worlds. It's the hey, maybe your characters from another campaign can come and say hi. I don't know. It's just kind of like it feels like the lobby after you completed the big adventure. Like where do you go next? And I think that's kind of a cool way of putting it out.
I think there's some added benefit in it that it also could become as a capstone campaign setting. It also gives GMs another option for TPKs. So if you're running an AP and your entire party dies, you could wake up in this campaign setting and start from level 1 again, and there you go, and start exploring a whole new world. So I think it serves more than just ending at level 18. I don't know, you Scott, you probably know more than I do though, since you're included in the project. My knowledge is limited in my conversations with Kristen. So.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely, again, I don't want to compare it too much to Sigil because it's definitely its own thing, but that is the closest thing I can give it to. Where I'm gonna go back to a really old book. Was it Demigods and Deities from?
Deities and Demigods.
Yeah, where they actually talk about the layout of Olympus and stuff, and the old competitions, so yeah, when epic level at first or second or AD&D was you had to go there and compete in giant tournaments to advance in level and stuff. It was kind of weird. It was bizarro because when I wrote up legendary levels or Pathfinder epic level stuff, you actually had to go compete there. You could do other things for it too, but you had to pass challenges and trials and stuff. It was bizarre. I loved it.
Apparently the playtesting for this began at 3rd level, but this is 300 plus pages and full color, right? This is the art's pretty dope.
Oh, it is, dude.
The art is
Vincente something, right? Vincente Caliento, or I'm probably messing up.
Yes, that sounds right. No, I think that sounds right.
That's right. Okay, cool.
So, anyway, get back it, guys. It's out there. It's going to be, 30-day Kickstarter?
I think
it's got 31 days
left. Oh, okay,
left.
cool. So 32 days, I guess, or something. Anyway,
and he added a $100 pledge level that includes all 18 PDFs from Lost Spheres Publishing.
Oh, wow.
And those are beautiful and great PDFs. Kristen's actually going to be doing some stuff for us later this year as well. Or actually for Nat 20 Studios.
So, Jay, actually...
and there's a new class here, the Nexus, a Veil Weaving class.
Mm-hmm. So, Jay, you got your space here to talk about whatever you want. So, we got a few minutes. Let's kind of... We're about 2 minutes over time, but...
I'm excited about what Kristen's doing. We've had some great conversations about Seven Seraphs. I think one of the things that I was particularly touched about was the irony. There's a bit of a synchronicity because the background information for Bloodlines and Black Magic, there are 7 archons that rule the world in Bloodlines and Black Magic. And then when Kristen was pitching me Seven Seraphs, and I'm like, wait a minute. You've got these 7 entities, and we've got these 7 entities. Was this planned? And he was like, nope. And it was just one of those happy accidents that happened. So I don't know if we're going to try to tie this content together, but it certainly could be fun, just because of what he's doing. And once I get a better look at Seven Seraphs, I'll be able to see if that's going to be feasible. But what we're doing right now, all of you, well, except for you, Scott. I mean, Mike has worked with us. Savannah's worked for us. You guys kind of have, some insights into what we're doing, but we're ramping up for some bigger productions. In fact, next year we're going to be announcing a new campaign setting. It will be both Pathfinder and 5e compatible. It's a campaign setting called Alessia. We've got another campaign setting that's at work called Raynor, the Bloodlands, that will be on track for release in 2019. And we're really hustling. That's one of the reasons I'm behind in Game of Thrones and every other show that you guys get to watch. But we've got a lot of great things happening. We recently just finished the manuscript for the Celestial Host, which was our first project for Design Camp. We had a great time with that. We originally wanted to run it for about 3 to 5 months. It's actually ran about 8. I've gotten so much amazing feedback from the backers that participate, or the campers that participated in it.
Yeah, there's been some really great response to it.
Yes, and people are excited. I've actually got people emailing me and asking me, when are you doing the next one? And we're actually going to be sitting down on Friday at lunch with everyone that's coming out to GenCon and saying, hey, come out, sit down, let's talk about it. We've got the next project outlined. And right now, once Brian and Ben and I get to sit down and at GenCon and actually have some relaxing kind of just conversational meeting time that's not, us working on any of the other current projects we're going, I'd like to see about maybe even possibly kickstarting it later on to add art, because the manuscript is gorgeous. It's done. It brings deities and demigods to the Pathfinder role-playing game, which hasn't been done before. And we did 3 pantheons. No, it has. I mean, it's not been done.
So we actually released one of our first big products. We released Legendary Levels, which is epic level for Pathfinder, and we did one of our source books.
We're not doing epic, but we're not doing epic.
Hang on. But one of the things we did was a deity book, source book for that, which was based heavily on.
I must have missed that. But we spent about 6 months just doing academic level research on it. So,
and you're talking about like a general deity book, not the deities of Ranthi or whatever.
Right. No, we're doing particular pantheons. Yeah. We're doing particular pantheons. So the first 3 sets of pantheons for the Celestial Host is the Tuatha De Danann, the Norse, and the Arthurian legend. So it's actually 2 pantheons of gods, and we wanted to take everything from deities and demigods from the old school, like first edition stuff, and give it a lot more treatment. One of the models that I wanted to use was Paizo's Inner Sea Gods, because there was so much amazing detail that they gave to people for Galorian. I'm like, why don't we do this for deities and demigods? And a lot of the classic Legends and Lores books and deities and demigods, I don't feel like they gave the gods the full treatment. Maybe it was a space issue. Maybe it was research. They didn't have the time. I don't know. But as we have an increasing access to information, we can make better products. And this book came out fantastic. So we've had great feedback on it. And we might just kickstart it and open it up to a larger community. But so far, it's been amazing. And we're busy. We've got a lot of things coming out soon. And of course, Mike's got Mists of Akuma. Which is doing well. It's actually been converted to Shadow of the Demon Lord.
I'm still amazed at how well that's going with Shadow of the Demon Lord. I knew they were going to like it.
And the new character sheet looks dope, dude. I was like,
thank you.
That is awesome.
Did you see the D&D ones with the watermarks?
Yeah. Yes. It looks really good. I was really excited about that. I was like, man, that's on point. I haven't talked to Rob about it, but I was still like, that looks good. And I think he gave it a thumbs up. And I
think he did. I think he gave it a like. I didn't check with him because I think there's enough, because I had to add a bunch of stuff to it that's not in the regular core rules.
Yeah.
So it's still different enough that it's not quite the same, but it's recognizable. And the Torii Gate helps a lot too.
Yes. It looks really good. So I'm very happy with where Mists of Akuma is going. Alessia is going to be a big thing. Rune is currently being converted to 5th edition. It's already been the entire campaign guide for Rune's been converted to Savage Worlds, and as soon as I can get some time or another layout person to tackle it, that'll be coming out, I'm guessing early next year, if not late this year. So we're gonna be expanding. I don't want to say super rapidly. I want to keep a steady pace of growth, but the things coming out of Stormity Studios are going to be a higher level of quality. And here soon, I've been telling people we are redoing the Pathfinder version of Rune, and we're going to go ahead, we're doing a second pass edit, and we're going to make it available as a print-on-demand product. There's been just too much demand for it not to do. So we're busy, man. I could talk for hours, but I also know we're running out of time.
We are. We're actually a little over time. So
So we're going to take a little break and then be back from Munchausen.
hey, guys.
That sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Once again, thanks for stopping by, guys.